Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very wise in His prohibitions. And when He prohibited khamr, He also prohibited gambling in the same ayah. Alright. And that tells us a great story, or teaches us a great lesson from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's divine wisdom, and that is whenever there is khamr or alcohol involved, or alcohol addiction involved, almost certainly you will find other types of addictions. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the addiction of gambling exactly straight after He mentions about the addiction of alcohol. Divine wisdom. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us and knows how we operate. When we are under stress, what do? Or stress normally comes because of financial instability. Because it comes because of poverty, because of financial insecurity. And before I go into this topic of gambling, let me just give you a sort of, not a heads up, but a 10-year glance into the future. We all know that we are now looking at getting our sons and daughters into work, and trying to help them graduate. Finding work is not that easy today. Joblessness is on the rise, and cost of living is on the rise. Inflation is on the rise, and there's no work. It's very difficult for the young, and I feel for them, because they have good aspirations, they've got good intentions, they study hard, and some of them are doing multiple jobs. We know what we are facing with in today's society. Some of our children are doing multiple jobs. They want to get married. Things are getting difficult for them. Back in the 70s, we could easily afford a house. It was cheap. Even rent was cheap. Today on average rent is about 800 to 1,000, a month. Who can afford that? That's your entire salary gone. Imagine the amount of financial pressure that comes upon the Gen Z generation, the Generation Z. They give the generation certain names. There is Generation Millennia. I'm from the Millennia, or I'm not from the Millennia, I'm from the Generation X. If I'm 40 or 50, I'm from Generation X. Okay? For Eid al-Adha, we had 7 Jama'ahs in Westgate Masjid. 8 Jama'ahs. In Victory Street we had 5. Mustafa Center, or Graduate Muslim College, hosted 3 Jama'ahs, and they were packed out. Where am I going with this? In the next 5 to 10 years, our Muslim community will increase by another 1.5 million after speaking to a local councillor. 1.5 million. And then after that, another 1.5 million. 3 million within 20 years. An increase to this Muslim community, which is a good thing, alhamdulillah. But with an increase of a Muslim community, we have more Generation Z, or Generation Alpha, as they call it, those who are going to live in their 20s, wanting to get married, wanting to work, wanting to do well, and there are no opportunities. Do you see where I'm going with this? This is going to spark a thirst for prosperity, looking for opportunities, and some of the opportunities might be halal, but my dear brothers, as we are looking at the increase of people going down the route of gambling and putting their money into gambling opportunities, this is also in the increase. And as times are going to get difficult and more difficult, we are going to be faced with a generation that are either going to be broke or suffering if they are not going to be wise enough, knowing the dangers of gambling, and And this is why we're having this discussion today. And knowing the benefits of bay'ah, of commerce, of trading. أَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرُ وَالْأَنصَابُ وَالْأَزْلَامُ رِجْسٌ مِنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ. It says that khamr, as we have said last week, you gave the translation of this very same verse, but now we're on the topic of maisir. Maisir is gambling. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it's the filth of the devil. Alright? This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes it. Nothing that comes from gambling is good. Even though they are building our parts with it, even though they are building public, centers with it, or civic centers with it, or lay our roads with the gambling and lottery money, these are all haram money. Money that has no barakah in it. And that is the danger that we are living in as a Muslim community here in the West, that if you put on your television, I don't have Sky, I don't have whatever there is, but you know that when the ads come up, those of you who have television, when the ads come up, every second ad is about gambling. Right or wrong? William Hill, the National Lottery, Ladbrokes, the list goes on and on and on and on. 15.1 billion in 2003 has been breaking by gambling firms. And they had a bit of a loss during the COVID because there was no sports. And public gambling slots were not allowed to be open. And they had a loss. Right? When after 2021, it shot up again. Because people found themselves in difficulty, businesses particularly, found themselves in difficulty after the COVID period, and the gambling shot up. This is according to the national statistics. Jama'at al-Muslimin, if wine is an addiction, and all of its sisters, we're talking about all the substances we've spoken about in the past week, gambling is worse. And one of the ulama say that gambling is worse not only because it's worse than riba, because it doesn't only affect you in a particular way, it affects those around you, but it affects you in a double way. That is that it destroys your finances and it drags you into an eternal addiction. Riba doesn't do that. That addiction is not associated with the riba as it is associated with gambling. And for this reason, we need to be aware with our youth, with our young, when they are on their games and their laptops. You have to do some sort of investigation, or you have to ask them questions. You have to, interact with them when they are doing the gaming, because this is where it starts. Okay? Jama'at al-Muslimin, al-Islam is an old addiction. In the olden days, what the Arabs used to do, the Arabs used to slaughter camels. And when they slaughtered the camels, they would cut it up in various pieces and pile them up. And then they used to have arrows. They used to write a name, or they used to name every single heap of meat. They gave it a name. And they would write those names on the arrows, and then they would put the arrows together. Some of the arrows would be empty, they won't have any names on it. And then they would ask various individuals who are participating in this gathering to pull the arrows. Okay? And if they would pull an arrow and the name of the group of meat resembles the arrow, then they would get that meat. And if you pull an arrow and it's empty, it's blank, get meat, but you will also have to pay the price of a full camel. This is the gambling. And gambling was so rife and so popular amongst the Arabs, right? That when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, this is before gambling became haram, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, غُلِبَتِ الرُّومُ فِي أَدْنَى الْأَرْضِ وَهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ غَلَبِهِمْ سَيَغْلِبُونَ. That Rome was conquered by the Persians, but after their defeat, they will win again. Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu at that time said to the Arabs were just a small community, the superpowers of the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire. Abu Bakr went up to Quraysh and said, look, Rome will win. They said, how is that possible? He said, I bet 100 camels on it. Back then, you bet 100 camels, it just shows his conviction in the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because this is a verse that was revealed in Makkah. But then betting was fine. It was not fine, it was not prohibited yet. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited it for various reasons. For various reasons that are devastating. Families lose their job. They commit suicide. The reason for suicide, Jamaatul Muslimin, one of the greatest reasons for suicide is financial stress. Not only that, but the whole family suffer the consequences. I was once in Sainsbury's, and I saw an old man with an imama, and I knew the man because I used to pray Fajr in that particular masjid. And he was scratching a lottery card. It was heartbreaking for me to see that this is happening with our older community. Is it because the man didn't have children to support him, or is it just an addiction? I didn't know. Because gambling leads to an addiction. This is the problem that we are going to have to face in the future. And we have to educate our children on the harms of gambling. 1.5 million people are active gamblers, addicted, and they need help according to national statistics. And that number that was in 2018 and today, 2023, there's also statistics, I couldn't find any up-to-date ones. It went up to 2.7 million active addicts. They can't do without it. Now I don't say all of these are Muslims, but we are living in a non-Muslim society. If this is so rife and pervasive, it is bound to overspill and reach our communities. And we are a pure community. We believe in sending our pure money for any cause that we are sending money out for. Right? And Islam teaches us that if you give money, it has to be pure. One of the questions that came up, if I win the lottery, can I give it to the masjid and for school equipment? These are the kind of questions. These are on Islamic Q&A. Raffles, are they halal? If a school has a raffle, there's a prize to be won. These are common things that are coming out because we need the money. Nobody's giving money to the masajid. And nobody's giving money to the schools, Islamic schools. Good educational systems or institutions, they are suffering financially. What do? Lottery. Not lottery, but raffles. It's a common one. Okay? So we need to wisen up, we need to educate ourselves, and we need to be aware that lottery, raffles, online gaming, slot machines, you name it. If a man says, look, here is 100, and you put 100 down, if it rains tomorrow, then you can take the entire 200. Okay? If two people come into a transaction based on chance, whether that two people is you and another brother, or 10 brothers come together, this is a transaction between them, or you and Ladbrokes, or a person and William Hill. These are a transaction. You put money down on chance. If this particular horse wins, then I'm going to win. If not, I lose all my money. This is gambling in its purest form. Okay? You either win all or you lose it all. And this is different from bay', from commerce and business. أحل الله البيع, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made business halal وحرم الربا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made riba haram. Our topic is not riba, it's a different day inshallah. But today is gambling. If a person starts a business, there are three very important elements. It is you, the person. Who are you if I want to do business with you? What kind of characteristics do you hold? Are you honest? Are you fair? That's number one. Number two is the product. Whatever it may be that you sell. Is it education? Is it good education? Whatever product you sell, is it a reliable item that I'm buying from you, purchasing from you? Then the third thing is your strategy. How you go about advertising for it. And there's halal ways and there's haram ways. But this is the main things that involves your business. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. Why? Because it opens up the field for prosperity. Barakah, no doubt, will come down. And it will live in your business. Let's put it that way. And you will be the host. Right? So, gambling is a large topic, it's a huge topic. There are different faces to gambling. And I'm just putting it out there for today. Spotting addictions is another topic on its own that we need to address. Okay? What is halal and what is haram? Studying the clauses and the preconditions of what is constituted as gambling. Inshallah, hopefully, inshallah, our honorable Shaykh, Maulana Hafiz, can enlighten us about these things in the future. But it's something that we need to know, because I think a lot of us are unaware of, number one, the dangers, and when we are hit with it and addiction starts setting in, it is too late. Right? It is too late. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us aware of these evils in our society. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us and protect our families and our communities from this evil. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. First of all, let's start going to ground with Rohit and correct your relations. And he's been asking me for the last couple of months actually, that when he came to the UK in 1982, he used to give a pound donation to the mosque. And since then, we're in 2024, and you can't get what you used to be able to get with a pound in 1982 anymore. So you just say, no, you shouldn't make people that inflation is affecting the masjid as well. And obviously, when we're considering the gas and electricity bills and all those costs, that makes a difference. So it's something I'm a little bit to mention, because obviously, why you give, you're giving for the sake of Allah, you're giving you Allah, but it's something to keep in mind that when we do give to any charity organization, masjid, charity, you just consider, the costs associated, and obviously you're facing inflation at home, then that also affects these kind of organizations in their running and the cost of that. Please consider that when you are making your donations. Please don't forgive us if they've mentioned that or to anyone, because we don't want that, but he's asked me to mention, and I want to fulfill that request that he's made. The second thing is that we've got 2 new courses starting very soon, so to remind you of those opportunities. The first is a 26-week Tajweed course taught by yourself. It starts tomorrow, and it's a weekly course on Saturdays from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, 26 weeks starting from tomorrow, 5 to 6. So brothers and sisters, so if you're interested in correcting your Quran recitation and improving the rules of the Tajweed, this is a perfect opportunity to start from tomorrow. It's very local, it's about 1 hour, very little work to do outside of the class, so a great opportunity for you to come and give some that portion to give you further details, or you can just come tomorrow at 5 o'clock and we can get you started. And the second course is an online course on the topic of depression and anxiety and the Quranic solutions for that. The remedies from the Quran, taught by Sheikh Mahdi Locke. It's on Mondays from 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock, and it starts on the 1st of July. That's an online only course. So again, 2 great opportunities. Please do benefit from them. And again, if you want further information, I'm happy to provide that at the end.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu
المشركون ولو كره الكافرون ولو كره المجرمون. أيها المسلمون، أوصيكم ونفسي المذنبة بتقوى الله تعالى، وأحثكم على طاعته وأستغفر بالذي هو خير. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه العزيز: يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه لعلكم تفلحون. صدق الله مولانا العظيم. جعلنا الله وإياكم من الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. من عمل صالحا فلنفسه ومن أساء فعليها ثم إلى ربكم ترجعون. أقول قولي هذا لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات فاستغفروه فيا فوز المستغفرين ويا نجاة التائبين. الحمد لله حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيده. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. أيها المسلمون، أكثروا من ذكر الله سبحانه وتعالى، وأكثروا من ذكر الموت، وأكثروا من الصلاة على الحبيب صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، فإنه قد قال: من صلى عليه مرة صلى الله بها عليه 10. واذكروا قول الله تبارك وتعالى حيث قال قديما ولم يزل قائلا عليما تنبيها لنا وتعليما إعلاء لقدر نبيه وتعظيما: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم، وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. وارض اللهم عن الأربعة الخلفاء الراشدين أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعن الحسن والحسين وعن فاطمة الزهراء وعن أزواج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الطاهرات أمهات المؤمنين وعن الصحابة أجمعين والتابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين ودمر أعداءك أعداء الدين. اللهم اصلح أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، اللهم فرج أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، اللهم جبر أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، اللهم انصر أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، اللهم ارحم أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم رحمة تاما يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأدخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. أقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين لترون الجحيم ثم لترونها عين اليقين ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله
after Jummah today, this Masjid Hall, there'll be an opportunity for Fatiha and for condolences ourselves in Masjid Hall immediately after Jummah, inshallah.
السلام عليك يا عبد السلام فحين ربنا بالسلام وأكرم الجنة والكتاب والسلام تبارك ربنا وتعالى في هذا الجبال والكرام سمعنا وأطعنا وأطعنا ربنا المصير إن شاء الله تعالى ونقول العافية وأصلحنا السلام ورب الناس اللهم اغفر له وارحمه وعافه واعف عنه وأكرم نزله ووسع مدخله واغسله بالماء الثلج والبرد ونقيه من الخطايا كما ينقى الأبيض من الناس وأكرمه دارا خيرا من داره وأهلا خيرا من أهله واغفر له وارحمه وأدخله الجنة يا رب العالمين اللهم اجعل قبره روضة من رياض الجنان ولا تجعل قبره حفرة من حفر النيران برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم احشره مع النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين وحسن أولئك رفيقا وذلك فضل من الله وكفى بالله عليما سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد الفاتح وأول المخاطب بما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدر وخلق العظيم. اللهم ربنا تقبل منا صلاتنا وصيامنا وركوعنا وسجودنا وجميع أعمالنا. اللهم تقبل من قبيل وسامحنا كثير ما يفعل كذلك القصير يا نعم المولى ويا نعم النصير. اللهم إنا نسألك إيمانا لا يرتد ونعيما لا ينفد وقرة عين لا ينقطع الله محمد نبيك وحبيبك صلى الله عليه وسلم في أعلى ما تقول. اللهم اجعلنا من النار اللهم اجعلنا من النار اللهم اجعلنا من النار وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. Oh Allah, we ask for your mercy, Ya Allah, for your forgiveness, Ya Allah, we ask for your removal, for your gentleness and your kindness, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. Send upon this community and our community, all communities around the world, your rahmah and mercy and barakah during these blessed days, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask that you grant our Hajj, the Hajj, Ya Allah, give him a safe journey, Ya Allah. We ask, Ya Allah, for our ill, the sick, the hospitals, Ya Allah, we grant them relief, and grant them cure for the pains and suffering, Ya Allah. We ask, Ya Allah, for our parents, Ya Allah, for the pastor, Ya Allah, and everybody who's been here with us in previous years, who's no longer with us anymore. Grant them Jannah al-Firdaus al-A'la, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, grant us all entry into Jannah without reckoning, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask you for our brothers and sisters and brothers that give them relief, to give them a chance to mend their lives and bring their lives back onto to rectify everything that's been happening in Gaza, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask you to protect them against the enemy, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, rebuild their houses and the masajid and the hospitals and universities, Ya Allah, give us used to be, Ya Allah, بفضلك وكرمك يا أكرم الأكرمين. Ya Allah, we ask you, Ya Allah, for our students who have completed the exams, Ya Allah, granted good results, inshallah ta'ala. Ya Allah, بفضلك وكرمك وجودك يا أكرم الأكرمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
يا نبي سلام عليك